Reggie Aloysius Miller, Hall of Famer. He called Kansas-Oregon Elite Eight game on Saturday night. Before I talk to March Madness, Reg, first of all, good morning.
Good morning.
Devin Booker scores 70 in a game. What do you make of that game and the celebration after a loss when you score 70?
Highly impressed by the 70 points. I think if any time at any level you score 70 points is a heck of an accomplishment. Not a fan of the celebration. It's because we're almost celebrating losing. And is that what the game has come to? I understand defeat, but to pose in the locker room afterwards with him holding the 70 sign like Wilt, I'm not a big fan of that. And I'm not a big fan of how they went about getting him that 70, fouling down the stretch to give him, extra opportunities and possessions to shoot the basketball. I've always been a big proponent of you never want to mess with the basketball gods. And I believe the Suns kind of messed with the basketball gods. To me, it wasn't as organic as when Michael Jordan had 69 versus the Celtics during a playoff game. Those things came within the flow of the offense, and it was a close game. If you go back and look at that game, the Suns were down by 20-plus points most of the game, and then they started fouling to get him extra possessions. So, look, 70, I don't want to be that guy, that old guy, oh, my God, hating on the younger generation, because 70 points is 70 points. Don't get me wrong.
He's 20 years of age.
20 years of age and getting 70. And and for the Celtics to be hating on him, I would be embarrassed, too, if a 20-year-old gave me 70. I get that. But the way they went about it and the fouling and the celebrating after a loss when you were down by 20-plus points, the whole game, it wasn't like they were down, they pulled away late. They were down 20-plus points most of that game.
One other thing I wanted to ask you in relating to the NBA is these college kids in March Madness, is there any extra value to what you think of their draft status, of how they play in March Madness, or would you just look at the regular season to assess how good somebody is? Because Thornwell's going to raise his draft status with his performance, but sometimes it gets tricky where we raise somebody's status because they continue to play through March Madness, and then we see him more and more, and then it feels like people fall in love with him.
Well, certainly you get extra eyes on certain players as they continue to advance during the tournament. And if you're a scout, it's just another tool for you to kind of gauge, what type of player and, are these young men, pressure players. And obviously when you're in a one-and-done situation and a winner-take-all situation like the NCAA tournament is, I guess it's a good little gauge for scouts to look at certain players to see, how do they perform under pressure? Can they make the big shots? Do they make their teammates and the players around them better? So, if you're a scout, it's just another way to gauge, if these guys are, primetime players and can play at the next level.
But would it hurt somebody's draft stock by how they played in March Madness in these big games?
Oh, certainly. If it's going to help you, it certainly can hurt you as well, especially if you don't perform well. Yeah, I think the knife cuts both ways.
We had Patrick Ewing on last week, and he told us that it came down to Georgetown and UCLA. So he would have been, I think.
Are you kidding me?
Did you know that?
No. And who dropped the ball?
He said they let me get on the plane to go back.
That never should have happened.
You would have been a sophomore, I think, when he was a senior.
Oh, my God. Are you telling me that Patrick Ewing could have been in blue and gold?
Yes. That was his second choice.
Pavilion.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, whomever was recruiting him and let him get back on them, how could he have left Westwood? That never should have happened. They should have moved his whole family out here.
He said they had too many guys who like to shoot on that team. That's why he couldn't go there.
Oh, man, I would have gave him the ball every single time. Wow. Are you kidding me? I mean, I can't fault him playing for John Thompson and, going to Georgetown, but it really came down to us and them.
Yes. Yeah, I was surprised.
Won?
Yeah, I didn't know that it came down to UCLA and Georgetown. I was surprised.
Well, that hurts because right now he probably would have been the third best center in UCLA history. No, maybe he would have been the second best center. I think he would have jumped Big Bill. No, he wouldn't have jumped Big Bill. Big Bill during college, he would have been the third best.
Yeah, he wouldn't have surpassed him in the pros.
No, he wouldn't have passed Big Bill. No.
We're talking. Reggie Miller has no NBA or NCAA duties this week, but there's something on CBS on Saturday called The Shooter. What's your involvement in that?
Yeah, it's called The Shooter. I did a feature, and it gives me a chance. I go back because it's been a while since I've actually been on the court and actually worked out in full lather. I go back in all the iconic NCAA moment shots that happened. Michael Jordan for Georgetown, Mario Chalmers, if you remember that shot, versus Memphis, Scotty Thurman. We recreate all these shots. The Christian Laettner play, Steph Curry, that shot in Davidson, Keith Smart, the big shot in IU versus Syracuse, I believe.
Yeah.
And then we all end with we kind of rank them, but not really. We're going to give a chance to fans to kind of weigh in. Which shot did you think was the greatest? And then we end with, obviously, Chris Jenkins' shot last year with Villanova. So I'm on the floor, and we recreate all these shots. And what's the mentality of a shooter? This is a moment for these young men. What is it like? What are they thinking? What was Michael Jordan thinking as a freshman when really it was Sam Perkins and James Worthy's team? The ball is coming to him in the air, so I kind of take the fans through what maybe these guys were thinking. So it's called The Shooter. It airs on CBS this Saturday, so hopefully you'll like it. We get to recreate some of the most iconic shots from the NCAA tournament.
What was the toughest one to recreate?
I would probably say the Laettner one, just for the simple fact I didn't know that he had dribbled once, and because we had to I had to go over it 3 or 4 times. He pump faked to his right and then shot over his left shoulder. And 2, it's recreating the celebration too. So it's the running and jumping, and I tried to get into the Grant Hill and the Thomas Hill pose when he was crying on the sideline. So it's the celebration too that you got to recreate. So probably the Laettner one was the toughest. Jordan was a pretty simple shot.
Yeah.
That was pretty easy. Chalmers, I thought, was pretty tough because it was one dribble, and the point guard was falling down as he kind of flipped it to him. So it was fun to do.
Speaking of crying, last time you cried at a sporting event, watching a sporting event, we had Darius Rucker on last hour, and Darius was full tears after South Carolina won yesterday.
The last time I cried at a sporting event would probably be 1994, Game 7, in the Madison Square Garden locker room. That run that we had when no one had expected us to get all the way to the conference finals versus the Knicks, and they burst our bubble. We should have won it in Game 6 at Market Square Arena. They tied it up, and we went back to the Garden, and I had a shot that went a little bit left, and in the locker room, the emotions came out. That was probably the last time, and I told myself, the only other time I'll ever cry again is if I win a championship. So, again, I have not cried, obviously.
Do the misses stay with you longer than the makes?
Yep. People always say, oh, my God, you're 8 points in 9 seconds, or the 25-point quarter, or the shot versus Jordan, the push-off. Come on, those are so great. Nope. All the misses. I relive all the tough moments as opposed to all the great ones. That's just who I am. I can't say that's the same for everyone, but it's those tough games that I remember the most as opposed to the big moments.
Charles Barkley was in last week, and I asked him a variety of questions. I asked him this, and he said it was a no-brainer. I said, would you rather have Christian Laettner's career or Manu Ginobili's career? Now, I'm incorporating everything, so international play, college, and pros.
I will go with oh, that's a good one. I'll go with Manu Ginobili.
Okay, so did Charles.
Yeah, because he's an international superstar because he had a great career for the Argentina national team. So they won a gold medal there, and then to win 3 with the Spurs, I'll go with Manu.
What about Leitner or Robert Orio?
Oh, come on. No question, Big Shot. Big Shot has some another iconic moments at the pro level. Definitely Big Shot Bob.
Really?
Yeah. But let me say this. Christian Leitner's collegiate career, you could make a case that he is arguably the greatest college player ever. And I know that's up against that's up against Kareem, that's up against Bill Russell, that's up against Bill Walton. You can make a case he had the greatest 4-year run ever.
He's got college immortality.
I'm not saying he is. I'm saying you could make a case.
Well, he's certainly top 7 or lower all time as far as college careers.
I would say he's
top
5. What do you see? I guess the Big E, Elvin Hayes, would you put in there?
No, he didn't win a title.
Okay, well, Kareem and Bill.
Kareem to me is the greatest college basketball player.
Bill
was Bill. Yeah, he won 2 titles.
Bill would be top 5.
Yeah.
I would say. We're just talking about college
careers. Yes.
I don't know if you could put Jordan in there, but he stayed 3 years, right?
Yeah, he won 1 title.
He won 1 title, and he had one of those iconic moments.
Now, I would put Patrick Ewing above Jordan.
You could put, yes, certainly. Yeah, he has a title with G-Town, and he went to 2 finals, too. Lost 1 and won 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might put him above Jordan there. Yeah, so Christian Leitner.
Do you put Ewing ahead of Leitner?
He was a better player, but Leitner has a better resume. Leitner hit every big shot, man.
Every.
Here's another one. Danny Manning. Danny Manning could be in there, too. With what he did that 1 year was incredible with Kansas.
Is Ferry in there, too?
No. They didn't win a title, I don't think. They lost to Louisville, I know. But I don't remember him winning a title.
Would you put You wouldn't put Manning ahead of Leitner.
No. What about Pete Maravich?
Did they ever win?
No.
Okay. That goes to the Big E, right? Heck of scorers, right? Both of them were unbelievable with the ball and scoring, but they didn't win.
Yeah. All right, so the shooter is on Saturday night?
Saturday pregame on CBS.
Okay, great.
A chance to relive some of the most iconic shots. I take you into what those guys were thinking as the ball is coming to them and the clock is ticking down.
I love it.
It was fun. Yeah.
And I didn't mention who this time around.
Thank God.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Look, I know we have to talk about him because he's going to continue to be in the news. I get it. But enough is enough already.
Okay.
I mean,
we're not even going to.
I have no problem.
Okay.
I have no problem with LeVar Ball. Seriously, I don't. It's just some of the things that he's saying. I don't think it's fair to the kids. But if they don't care about it, why should I care about it?
He's Reggie Aloysius Miller off tournament duty, and you can see the shooter on Saturday pregame. Reg, great job in the tournament. We enjoyed it. Have fun on your week off there, bud.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And before I go, out of the Final Four, who do you have?
I have Carolina.
Yeah, I see redemption there. Do you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of San Antonio Spurs. Remember when Ray Allen hit the shot to tie it in Game 6, and then they went on to win? Remember the people were roping the court off already, thinking that San Antonio was going to win. All they needed was one possession, and then Ray Allen became Superman. And then the next year, they came back, got into the finals, and won it. It kind of reminds me a little bit North Carolina like that. Like last year, Marcus Page double clutch. They should have won, but Chris Jenkins shot, and now they're back in the same situation. I'm going to roll with you on that.
Redemption
Carolina.
tour. Yep. All right,
Redemption.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
That's Reggie Aloysius Miller.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.